Have you ever felt threatened that you may lose your property and your children's inheritance? Do you feel that it's unfair that in the event of your death, all you have worked for all your lives, including your home, may be lost, whilst others in society can live for free? Believe it or not, this was no different to 1,000 years ago, when the kings and queens living in castles were under threat from invaders. About 1,000 years ago, to protect the kingdom's wealth, when the kings and his knights went on crusades, in order to protect their assets, the wealthy put trusts in place to protect their most valued possessions for 125 years. So, today, is an Englishman's home still his castle? Are trusts only available for the aristocracy and the rich and famous? Are there still invaders trying to take our assets? It's normal parental instinct to want to protect your assets and home for your children and those you love. After all, that's what aristocracy has done for years, by protecting the family silver. So why are trusts so important? They protect your assets for a minimum of 125 years, being longer than life expectancy. This can include homes, rental properties, savings, jewelry, and classic cars. Third-party attacks, such as bankruptcy, will contestation, and other claims against your assets will all bounce off your trust, ensuring that the assets get passed to your bloodline and not your bloodline spouses. Your assets become ring-fenced. These days, we don't need archers at the turrets of our home, but an Englishman's home can still be his castle. Matt and Amy had two bloodline children. They'd been married for 61 years. Amy unfortunately died, leaving Matt grieving and lonely. Matt had always vowed never to remarry. After all, Amy was the love of his life. But then, Wendy came along. Wendy also has two children. She heard that Matt was now single and that he had a few bob in the bank. Wendy, who's 25 years younger than Matt, wins his heart and they marry. Wendy, by marriage, now owns up to 50% of Matt's assets. When Matt dies, his assets now pass entirely to his new wife Wendy, disinheriting both Matt's children. However, if Matt and Amy put their home into a family asset protection trust, then the following scenario may have happened. The home is put into trust. Amy dies. Wendy meets Matt. Matt tells Wendy that his home has been put into trust for 125 years, making his children sole beneficiaries. 5. Wendy runs down the road at 120 miles an hour. Here are many other examples of how a family asset protection trust works. Benefiting those on long-term benefits. Benefiting those with long-term disabilities. Protection from intervention from the Court of Protection. Offering similar protection to lasting power of attorney. Helping to manage care home fees. Helping with generational inheritance tax. Protecting your children's inheritance regarding their marriage breakdown. And many more benefits besides. A will takes its first breath when you take your last. It does not offer any protection from third-party attacks, and only is a distribution of your assets. On the other hand, a family asset protection trust protects your assets for 125 years, whilst you're living, and also after you have died. You can either settle on a basic will without protection, or put your assets into a family asset protection trust. The choice is yours. Please contact Trustmark Law for more details and to receive a no-obligation consultation. www.trustmarklaw.co.uk